naturally. So, sure, go ahead.
Okay, guys, so what we're going to do is go ahead and get started. This is the agent profile. It is something that I will give out to anybody and everybody. We are going to send an email out. This is being recorded, so that way I'm sure we're going to hear some stuff that you're going to want to write down. I'm sure you're going to hear some stuff that you'll probably want to repeat. So what I basically do when I call somebody, and somebody's new to the team, I kind of run through this. I said, look, we don't know each other. We're part of the same organization. And I might have known the person for a while, but I don't know them, if that makes sense. Sometimes we sit next to people at work. We sit next to people at church. We sit next to people at the synagogue. We sit, we run into people at baseball games and football games and kids stuff, but we don't actually know them. So what I did is I built this questionnaire that I was asking people already, that I found the top earners were asking people, and I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So it starts out with these different categories: family, occupation, recreation, and then the 5 specific questions. So let's go ahead and start out with the family. If you can kind of give us a description of, Teddie, where were you born, where did you grow up, and really, where did you go to school?
Yeah, so I grew up in California, right outside of a little city called Norwalk. That's where I graduated from. I moved on and went, my best friend and I were supposed to join the military together. She backed out. I went into the military anyways. Traveled all around the Asia-Pacific Rim, went to Texas Central College, transferred over in a nursing program and was almost finished with that and decided that was not for me. Continued on after my military experience in the technical arena of computers and programming and databases. Started my own company on the side while working for the civil service, and just got a little bit deeper into technology and took those skills to a couple of other corporations. Left corporate America after 20 years or so, and decided to go back to school and become a classically trained naturopath doctor with my specialty in genetics, nutrition, and hormones. And I'll tell you, like I said, when I believe I was just born to do this, it's crazy, but full circle. You're in the middle of a health crisis or a scare, and it really changes your perspective on life. And I was really shocked when you asked me to do the call because, if you know me and really know me, I'm a pretty humble and straightforward person. I don't talk about money or toys or vacations or cars or how much I give back to my community and other people. I'm just one of those people that I feel that people come to me when they're looking for a solution and to get the job done. So I'm really honored to do the call today.
Awesome. So what this does is kind of give us a little bit of background. That's awesome that, you have switched careers completely, because I'm finding right now that a lot of people that I'm talking with are kind of at that 30, 40, 50, sometimes even 60 years old, and now all of a sudden they're having to switch to a completely different career, maybe even prior to hitting direct sales. And I think there's a lot of fear in the marketplace of switching. People are having to start over again. Which scares a lot of people. So, you've had to do this, it sounds like, kind of more than once and approach it. So we'll get into, you kind of gave us a little bit of background on your college, your technical trade school. So did you come from a big family or small family?
I came from a pretty big family. My mom had 5 brothers. She's one of 9, so she had 4 brothers, 4 sisters. And I personally have 2 brothers, one older, one younger. But it's kind of funny when you say that, people are switching. So I started on the technical side of the IT sales industry, and one of my mentors said, you would really do good in sales because you have such a people person type of spirit. And I said, well, I'm not good at sales. And they said, I think you really would be good at sales. You're pretty creative, and you're really, your work ethics are really good, so why don't we try it? And before I knew it, I started my career in IT sales, always the #1 income earner in the company. Just amazing things begin to happen for me, but it's more about relationships. I can talk sales all day long, but when you have something that solves a problem, and you know a workaround in identifying that problem and bringing that problem forth, that's when solution sales is really key. And nobody wants to be sold, but they certainly want to find a solution for their problem.
Absolutely. And in between your family, who were you kind of closest to growing up?
Not really. I mean, my older brother, you know, we got along pretty good, but he was a couple years older than me.
Okay.
My younger brother, you know, I was 6 years older than him. I was really, you know, kind of like a mama to him. But I had a couple of really good close friends in high school. Well, growing up and in the military, I had a really good best friend. And some of those relationships still carry on today, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, I really wanted a sister, but my mom wasn't in for that.
Couldn't talk her into it.
No, that was a little far-fetched. And I don't think she could have handled two girls.
Right. And what did your parents do for work? Did either one of them influence you and kind of your career choices?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I come from a long lineage of doctors and nurses in my background and my family history. But my mom is pretty unique in regards to my influence. My mom was a single mom of 3 kids, and she was relentless. She went to night school, you know, did whatever she had to do, started her own business, and is very successful today. If I don't think that, you know, she influenced me a lot, especially in my career choices, pretty huge. Now, my dad, I didn't grow up around my dad. He was a Canadian citizen. He was also one of a handful of 100 of U.S. Marines. He had dual citizenship. He went to Vietnam and he served. He died fairly young, but he was a professor and he traveled around the world and taught on Egyptian art, artifacts, history. Really cool guy, and I probably, you know, would have taken a different path had he been in my life more, but I found him, ironically. I was taking a art history class in college, and I was assigned the pyramids of Egypt, and I'm like, what? And what? Why did I get this? So I had to go out and find a book on the pyramids and some background, and I flipped the book over, and I was like, no freaking way. This is my dad. And so I emailed the author, and an email chain started back and forth, and we were just freaking out. And he asked me some questions that only he would know the answers to, and my family would. And within 24 hours, we were on the phone talking. Just an incredible experience for me. And everything my mom told me was exactly true about him. So I would tell you those two have really influenced my life. As I said, my dad passed away when I was 33. But, you know, had I not been introduced to him and know him and be guided for a few years by him and his experience and amazing creativity, I probably wouldn't be where I am today, that's for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm sorry to hear of his passing, but I mean, it sounds incredible that you guys were able to connect. And I know
Absolutely.
I have a lot of friends that have, you know, because of the internet, really, have been able to reach out and find family members, and it's just incredible. You know, I could only imagine, you know, the emotion behind, you know, finding a sibling or B, a parent, and just kind of getting that story. And a lot of times, I think people need that for kind of just overall, it helps out. So with the family part, that's kind of what I ask people, and I typically find out more in 5 minutes asking these questions about people when they start opening up, and it just helps relate and connect on a totally different level, which is awesome. I really appreciate you being that open to us. The next category that I'm going to hit is occupation, which you kind of talked about a little bit. You know, what was the first job that you actually took? The first job you've ever had?
Yeah, so I was in high school, and I just turned 14, and in California, you know, 14, 15, you can work. I took a cashier job at a little fast food place called Noggles, and it doesn't exist anymore, but now today it's Del Taco. But, you know, probably 4 weeks into that job, I knew it wasn't for me. I knew fast food was not where I wanted to be. And one of my friends at high school, she basically said, go talk to so-and-so. He's a manager at Olin Mills. And I was like, really? And so I went over to Olin Mills, and within 6 months, I became their sales manager. And it was just it was a really crazy, fun time for me until I graduated and went to the military. But I will say this, and I'm sure people remember Olin Mills calling them on the phone and selling a portrait for $19.95, and the guy will be by to pick up your check and make your portrait sitting. And that's where I, kind of got involved in background of sales, but it was more about relationship and talking to people on the phone and working my way up and then training others, put scripts together and talk people on the phone. So like when I said I was born for this, I think I was really born for this.
Yeah, you were definitely led in that direction, for sure. So out of the different jobs you've had, which one did you really like best?
I would have to say, a little bit of each job really impacts our life, but working in IT, you work in an environment by yourself sometimes. Working in sales, you work with others. I've worked in high-end sales with a Fortune 5 company, wine and dining executives. And one day, I really made the connection with myself and said, if I can sell a multi-million-dollar data system to a CIO and a CTO, I can go and help people's lives and impact lives in a greater way individually. Because, technology, you go and sell something and you impact their life and their function and their work capability and their personal growth. Why couldn't I do this with people? And at the time I was in a health crisis, I took a step back from that arena, and people were shocked that I walked away from a really nice, high-paying job to take care of myself. But I knew that I could fall back on my own individual skills, and that's kind of when I fell in love with direct marketing. So I would have to say probably a little bit of every skill set in a job. My greatest job is helping other people and having my time freedom that I love. I'm not really driven by money. I'm driven by time freedom, what I can do when I want to do it, with who I want to do it with. It kind of drove me to that passion because of my son. I needed to be there for him more. So I would probably have to say my role as a mom and a direct marketer have been my favorite roles in my work history.
Awesome. I think it's really important that, you mentioned kind of starting out at, almost a restaurant, cashier, went in, did some telephone sales. So many times when I'm talking to, new network marketers, people who are brand new, they sometimes get the image, especially once you've gotten good at this, they have the image of only who you are now, and they don't actually have that relatability back to, when we were stumbling and bumbling and not saying the right things and trying our own way and trying to figure this out. It's a really interesting industry, so that's one of the reasons I like especially this kind of thing, like an interview where you can learn about people who have made it to some of the higher levels inside of companies making more money. So I appreciate you being this real and open with us. Coming down here, it says we talked about which job you liked most, what's your current. So currently, I know you're in direct sales, running some companies. But let's go to recreation real quick, and then we're going to hit these topics, these 5 main questions, and then we'll get into kind of the network marketing stuff. This is all building up to get to the details of how social media works and stuff. Recreational, what do you like to do now? I mean, because obviously you have time, you have some freedom that you've built. What do you enjoy doing? Like, what is your recreation outside of, being on the phone and working and doing interviews?
Yeah, so, I love the outdoors. I will go biking and hiking and kayaking. I live in Idaho. We've got great seasons, outdoor activities. I really love to travel. I love meeting new people, new cultures, new foods. So recreation, camping. I love camping and getting back with nature. I think the older that I get, and I think this is most true for many people that have more time freedom, you find yourself outdoors, traveling, seeing new things that you haven't seen before. And, just trying to stay active. And as you know, or many of you may not know, I lost 109 pounds almost 7 years ago. So for me, staying active is really important and part of my health journey. So anything, cycling, riding, just anything outdoors. No, don't get me wrong. I love being indoors and vegging out sometimes and taking care of other things and pampering myself. But I really believe that, when you are in an active state, exercising or moving or just breathing fresh air, it's a nice relief to get away from the technology side of life.
Awesome. So I'm going to jump from recreation down to these 5 questions so we can get in a little bit about network marketing, just so we're good with time and everything. These 5 questions I found help me a lot when I'm dealing with people. Because if you've never dealt with people before, it tells me a little bit about their personality and how to work with them. And as you put it, some people are naturally good with relationships. I'll be real honest, I was terrible. So if you're terrible with relationships, this is going to help you out so much, because I just had to build in the questions to figure this out. So the first question on this list is, what do you think your 3 greatest strengths are?
I would have to say my 3 greatest strengths are, asking enough questions to get to a solution. I would probably say my positivity.
Yep.
And I would have to say my creativity. You could be a really awesome, amazing individual and just not have common sense.
Yeah.
And I'm just real and raw and blunt. And sometimes when you're like that, you could be categorized as a type A. So I've had to really learn and focus in the last couple of years to listen better or respond better. So it's a process, right?
Yes. Well, that actually leads me to the next question is what do you think are the 3 things that you had to improve the most? Like, what are the improvement things that you had to improve to kind of get to the level you're at?
Oh, absolutely. Mindfulness, mindset, communication. I mean, you can always be better at communication. And the last one would probably have to be relationship skills. You're going to deal with some difficult people. You're going to deal with rejection. You're going to deal with a lot of no until you get to that yes. So, those 3 things have really helped me become who I am and how I respond to certain things that happen in my life. So I think those are probably the top 3.
Awesome. So the next one is we talked about what motivates you. You said the main motivation is time, right? Or time freedom?
Yeah, time freedom. I mean, you can have tons of money and be so strapped to schedules and, I remember when I sat in corporate America and, I had my own little cubby and I was so happy making a lot of good money. And every single day when I walked in there and I sat down, I always kept saying to myself, I can't wait to not be chained to a desk.
Yeah.
And that drove me and drove me and drove me to where I am today, because that time freedom to have the time that you want to do, schedule things when you want, is more powerful to me than money. I mean, even if I had a little bit of money, I would still have time freedom where you could go and make more money, right? I mean, time, creativity and time is really, if you think about it, when you're done and you're gone, what's left, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's all we have. It's the most precious resource, for sure, for sure. So where do you want to be? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you want to end up?
Well, that's a great question, because I'm more of a, live in the present type of person. And, your past is your past. It's history. You can't really change it, embrace it, and move forward. So I would have to say, and I'm involved in many companies, and I do still have my own company.
Right.
And I would probably say 5 years from now, just helping people in a greater demand and a greater scope. And what I mean specifically by that is, in this, specifically speaking about this industry, as you grow other leaders, you get to step back a little bit and enjoy some more time freedom, and things kind of flow good. So
Yep.
It's ever changing. My 5-year plan is ever changing to where I can step back a little bit more and see other leaders flourish and thrive and be successful. And I think that's really key to part of this conversation that we're having, because you see those leaders in those spots, and like you said, they retired 20 years ago and they're still doing the same interviews. You need to see fresh new leaders rising all across the industry, no matter the company, no matter what they do, in order for other people. I don't want to be some great legend, right? I just want to help people find solutions that benefit them, and whether it be health or beauty or fashion or any of those things, just to help other people get where they want to be is where I want to be in 5 years, because I know that equals more time freedom for me.
Absolutely. Here's the last question, and what this does is this helps me pinpoint what I'm really going after with this person. It's both the height of helping, but it also can be used to motivate. That's kind of the purpose behind it. But what is the most important thing in your life right now?
I would have to say hands down my son, and followed really closely by my fiance and my kids, but that's probably my why, and why I started this, and why I started doing this, and why I will always do this is, having a child with special needs is expensive, and you need time. It's not fun. It's a challenge. It's a journey. It makes you grow as a person individually and how you respond to other people. And I will say unequivocally that going through such an amazing journey and embracing what I've been given is, the focus is still on helping others when I say my son is my biggest focus, because that's what I do for a living. I help others no matter what I'm doing or what company I'm with or what situation I'm in. There's always a solution. Just sometimes when you're in a situation, people can't see that solution. And when I say that that's my biggest why, he really is my biggest why, because when I'm long and gone, he's still going to have special needs. He's still going to have some source of monetary value to pay for those needs. He's not always going to be, cared for by me, but by his father and family, and so and by himself. So I need to make sure that he's well taken care of, and I feel that's my obligation.
Right.
But not only that is that one of the biggest things for me is family. Period.
Yeah. And then you try to show that to other people, I would guess?
Absolutely. And when you come into relationship with other people that you're leading or helping or following, you're in relationship with them. They become your family. So an extended family of what you're doing, people who know and love and trust you, they are family.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what I just went through, and I really appreciate you being as open and forthright and kind of blunt and to the point. That's the agent profile. It also has on things like, who the sponsor is, what your name is, email, Facebook. Obviously, I'm not going to gather that information from you, but that would be the information. But this helps me build rapport, and we've been here about 30 minutes. And within 30 minutes, that's the information I'm able to gather. And what I've found is by using this form and these questions, I'm able to connect with people on a deeper level than anything else that I've been taught in the industry. So like I said, I'll be willing to give this PDF out to whoever needs it, wants it. It's how I actually build relationships personally. But from here, I want to get into some specific questions about direct sales, network marketing. A lot of people come on and they're like, especially the detail people, they're like, phooey with the story stuff. I want to know how to or how she does. So that's kind of the next part I want to get into is just the MLM, the network marketing. When you first saw direct sales, or let's say even prior to seeing direct sales, what was your opinion of the industry? Had you run across it before you got started?
Yeah, so this was pretty interesting because I didn't know this until probably a couple of years into direct marketing, direct sales. My grandmother was one of the largest network marketers in Avon and Coppercraft in the California era, early 60s, 70s, and I had no idea. She died when I was 3, so I really didn't know that much about my grandmother. But, they always said when she died and at her funeral, hundreds of people showed up and hundreds of people's lives that she touched. Making women feel beautiful and confident. And I always chuckle because my aunt is in direct sales. She does Avon still to this day. She's been doing it for 25 years. And I had no idea what direct sales was prior to learning all this. But I worked for a major company that did direct sales and did corporate sales, business to business, and direct. And I thought, why are we doing direct business? And I started looking into it a little bit more, and it made sense. And I thought, let me find a direct company to partner with. And that first company I was with for 7 years. And it kind of led me to where I am today. But when I heard about the industry, I heard all the bad. I heard all the conflicting. I heard all the other stuff. I heard all the massive money makers. And the first thing I thought is, maybe I can just make enough to get free product and make a little extra money for some things that we needed. And that was my first indication of direct marketing.
Oh, wow. So how did you see it? Who pitched you? Like, how was that process? How did you find out?
Well, as a professional, nobody really pitched me, but I had a nurse that came to me and said, people are suffering in their bodies. Have you seen any of this nutrition? And I thought, well, I have a nutrition line, but I want to look into this a little bit more. And when I personally come to a direct marketing company, I look at their products. I'm pretty, intense about ingredients and how they affect people's biochemistry.
Yep.
She really didn't even have to pitch me. I took a look at the whole line, and I thought out of 60 products, I could probably work with 3 or 4, and
Okay.
that's what I'm going to run with. And that's what I did and became very successful just focusing on those 3 or 4.
So kind of walk me through. You see the business. You do how long did it take you from the time you were pitched and looked at it to actually signing up?
I probably took me about 72 hours. Nowadays it doesn't take me that long because when you're in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, now mind you, I just don't look for anything. I look for the next trend. I look for the thing that's going to be revolutionary, that's going to change an industry, and that is my forte. If I see something that I know that women or men love, want, need, and they are going to, hands down, just pick it up, I'm on it.
Okay. So it took about 72 hours. You called the person back. You signed up. Walk me through, you getting started. How did you start out? Did you start out exactly how they told you? Did you do your own thing? Like, what was the beginning of you entering direct sales?
I was such a rebel, Jeff.
Uh-oh.
I am just being totally transparent here. I am such a rebel because, I don't even know how I ever made it through the military without getting in trouble.
Okay.
I was doing it my way, but I was very successful, and people started noticing, wait a minute, you're doing what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this, this, and this, and hey, if it works for me. So there's no cookie cutter answer, right? you can have policy and procedures. You can have step 1, step 2, step 3. And I love the word duplication, but duplication is just not possible in a lot of different things. I like replication. You can take what I'm saying and duplicate it all day long, but you can go and replicate something, take what you want, take what works for you, because you can't create a million Teddies, but an individual can take and replicate that information and make it work for themselves. So it's kind of funny when you say that, because I was such a rebel, and she kept trying to teach me a certain way, and I'm like, it doesn't work that way for me. It doesn't work that way for others. I'm doing what others are asking for. I meet them where they're at, and then we have success.
Okay.
So, you know, you can give me step 1 through 10, and if step 2 doesn't work for me, I'm going to do a different way that works and have success, and then people start taking notice.
Right. So walk me through, what were they trying to get you to do versus what were you actually doing? You said you were doing it differently. What were you doing for success? I mean, don't give up an industry secret if you don't want to, but is it something pretty common when you say it didn't work for others but it worked for me?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, when you're introduced to a company, they have these big packages that have a big, nice, hefty bonus for you. For me, it was more about meeting people where they're at, where their budget was, what their health was, what they specifically needed, and going against the grain. I wasn't in it for the money. I was in it to help people's bodies. So, you know, and what was happening specifically in this situation, my retention was amazing, and they couldn't figure out my retention rates were so high. It was because I didn't start off the way they were teaching people. I met people where they were when they began. So the longevity of the use of the products and you know, follow-on products and referrals and bonuses came on the latter end, not the front end. So I'm sure you've seen it in some companies. They're like, buy the big package when you get in, you're opening a business, you're doing this and that. But you have to find a way that works for you and it works for your customers.
Okay, so what I hear is sometimes the getting started right is you know, buy one of these 1 to 3 packages. This is the way everybody starts, and more. You were sitting down going, okay, what are we trying to do here? Somebody's trying to lose weight, somebody's trying to feel better, and you say, you know what, start with this product because this is probably what will help you the most right now, and then we'll add on if you like this. Am I saying it the right way?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Just meet people where they're at, right? Because, you know, there are a lot of convoluted nutrition solutions out there in the marketplace. And yes, when you have a box arrive and it's got 50 ingredients in it and you've got 5 multiple products, you're like, oh my God, how am I going to make this work? And then they don't do it. You got to open it up and take the first step.
I really like that. I actually have seen that in companies where they started like that and then they switched, and it seemed like a lot of the best people decided to go elsewhere. You know, that's unfortunate. That it's forced that way because it really, I think your method, it really is about giving people what they absolutely need. If they like and love something, what I found is if they like and love something, they'll always order something else. But if you oversell them initially, then they'll never refer anybody to it.
Absolutely, and you know, you hear this in the industry a lot. Oh, I went to go see so-and-so and they gave me 5 pills to take. What in the world, or 5 supplements to take? How in the world am I ever, you know, it's a shocker, right? Not only is the sticker value a shocker, but the process is a shocker. And, you know, I'm always about meet where people are. Meet them where the need is.
Yep, awesome. So when you go out and contact, let's get into kind of specifics. When you contacted in the beginning, how did you contact in the beginning, and has it changed over time to what you do now?
Absolutely. I mean, I love face-to-face, but, you know, and I'm just going to get right down to specifics. Social media is great for somebody that's not done social media before to get into dealing with people and meeting and building relationships and rapport. But I'm going to tell you, the fastest way to grow your business in this industry is texting. No one will look at an email like they used to, because we all get an email, we get excited and read it right away. Now we just say, oh, I got an email. nobody will answer their phone, right, with caller ID nowadays and robocalls and all these other crazy stuff going on with phones. And, you know, social media and texting is pretty much, and social media has now fallen into that email situation.
Yeah.
But, you know, building rapport and texting people, you get a text and it's like, bam, you got that text, ... right?
Yep.
So that is the fastest and best way to communicate is, and then besides picking up the phone, you know, I send somebody a text, do you have a minute? Yeah, give me a call in 5 minutes. Okay. That is the fastest way to get somebody on the phone, get somebody's attention, and truthfully, they already know and love and trust you. If you've got their cell phone number, that is like the gatekeeper.
So do you believe in, because I know some people are like pre-qualify everybody, and some people are like just share the information. Are you more trying to share what you do to see if there's others out there, or are you trying to come after that person?
Well, I don't go after or get, and that's the beautiful thing about attraction marketing. People come to you, right?
Okay, right.
And if you're on social media, it's attraction marketing. If you're just putting information out there and not gathering information, you got to take a step back. You're an information gatherer. Just like when people go and meet face-to-face, do you have a business card? I don't have a business card. But if you're on social media or if you give me your cell phone number, I can contact you and we can communicate. Because you're an information gatherer. You want to gather as much information as you can. So let me give you an example on social media that I personally do and have done for years. If I put a statement out there, oh my God, I love healthy chocolate, you know, I'll get people that comment all day long, oh my God, yes, me too, me too, me too, me too. And then I hear, you know, all these likes and loves. But these people aren't eating the healthy chocolate that I'm eating, right? And I put out there that I love healthy chocolate. Now I have a whole list of people who love healthy chocolate. And if I want to go and say, hey, thanks for liking my comment about healthy chocolate, what are you eating? I want to know, right? Yep. And some people come back and they say store-bought. Well, I have one of the most highest antioxidant chocolates on this planet, and it's healthy for you. Have you heard of it? So if you are thinking social media is a great way to gather information and meet people. Immediately take it offline. What's your cell phone number? I'll text you some information, right? Because if you think about the future, if social media goes away today, how are you going to build? You're going to go back to face-to-face. You're going to go back to church. You're going to go back to groups. You're going to go back to mom. You're going to go back to the gym. You're going to go back. You know, people find social media, and this is how I feel about it. They'll find a way out. And when I say that, it's easier for them to say, hey, come and take a look at my new yada, 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 and put their website, and everybody's like, what? You're just fishing, right? You're casting the bait out there. They take the bait, and they've eaten it, and then there's nothing left for you to get. There's nothing left for you to conversate about. There's nothing left to build a relationship about, right?
Yeah.
So being strategic is really important, and being as creative as possible in this industry. You know, if you're selling, and I'm just going to take this for example, I don't, but if you're selling leggings and you want to post it on social media, hey, come by at my shop XYZ, no, right? Talk about the product, be creative in how it makes you feel, and, you know, post some funny picture, right? Because that's creative attraction marketing, right? I could have never picked up what I dropped on the floor if I was in jeans, right? Or something just outlandish. People follow you for value. People follow you for information. They follow you because they know, love, and trust you. They follow you because you are cutting edge, or you're trendy, or you're following markets, or they follow you just because you have funny things to say, right? Jeff, you've got some great intuitive things to say. I follow you because every day it's something different. You don't know what you're going to get. It's a bag of whatnot. Put your hand in there, pull it out, and what am I getting today?
Right. I appreciate that. I try to stay with, is it going to be helpful? Is it going to be insightful? Is it fun? Is it interesting? Is it positive? If it's not positive, if it's not helpful, I don't even put it up.
Absolutely.
Typically. But I will make fun of things, certain things. But I don't make fun of certain people. Although
Right.
there's tons of people to make fun of. Let's face it. But that doesn't help. It's not helping the greater good. So that was awesome about social media. I was going to ask where you see social media in using it in MLM, contacting and inviting. Let's do this. What are some simple basics that people need to master? Not kind of know, but what do you need to master to make money inside the industry?
You need to have, and this is rule number one in sales training from a top five company that I work with, and I'm sure they have 3 initials, IBM. You got to be able to ask for the order. You have to. If you are not a person that can say, hey, are you ready to, purchase X, Y, and Z today, or are you ready to have your first experience? If you're not able to ask that question and follow up, you'll have a 50-50 chance that somebody may purchase something from you. It's no different than real life business, B2B business, right, or having a brick and mortar store. I have to have something that people are going to come in, hear something about, or even want, or already made the decision to purchase at my store or my online business, and if they know they already need it, they're going to go and shop with me. So you have to be able to ask for the order, ask for the sale, ask, hey, are you ready to try this product?
Okay, so that would be one of the most important skills that people have to master. What about getting to the point where people know what it is? How much information is enough and how much is not enough, and how much is information overload? You talked about just sending a website to somebody and how that pretty much is useless in a lot of cases now. Where is the happy medium between deconstructing the product and rebuilding it and telling people every brick that was used to make the company and versus just an overview?
Yeah, and here's a really key point to this, and I love that you asked this question, because break it down, think about it. I do not let the cat out of the bag until I've hit the income or the leadership level that I want at any company. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And the reason that is because if you have something that somebody really wants, they're going to come to you. You're going to build relationship with them. You're going to build rapport with them. The minute that you tell them what it is, they might have somebody in mind that they're going to go to, but they're probably not as educated and qualified in the product experience, the product efficacy, the product knowledge, the company owners, and they really want to partner with successful people. Successful people partner with successful people. Is that a true statement or not?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've had this happen to me several times. People will join with their Aunt Mary, and their Aunt Mary does nothing, and I'm over here growing, and they're seeing the rapid momentum, and they're like, dang, I should have went with you, and I should have partnered with you, and I understand obligations. I understand that. So leaders partner with leaders to gain that momentum. And if you do not share what it is until you've got to the leadership or the income level that you want, that's okay, because you've got to keep that mysterious creative vibe about what you found and what's hot or what's trendy or what's the next product that can really help a lot of people. You have to keep that kind of under wraps. I don't expose who I'm with because I have many companies that I'm with, right? I don't expose and lead with just one. And not a lot of people can do this, Jeff. I'm not saying that I'm special or anything like that. You have to have a strategy. So, 50% of my income comes from one source, 25%, 20, 15, 10, whatever it is on the back end. You have to be really creative if that's the one that you're going to don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Yeah. But if you are focused on one company, do not give it away until you're at that leadership level you want to be and at that income level success you want to be. Because there are many, many people that jump on a trend or a new company, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, the market's saturated, and now they're just giving out their websites everywhere. They're not meeting with people and building those relationships and meeting that solution. Because I will tell you, there are plenty of people out there that joined with someone that didn't know anything about the product or what their need was, and then all of a sudden they're like, I should have never used this, or I should have never got into this, or I should have never. I want people to feel confident where they're at if they joined with you, or even if I support people if they join with their Aunt Mary, right?
Yeah.
So it's a catch-22 when you start thinking about it. But don't, throw your website out there, or your links, or your product, or, product pictures. I always link it to that emotional tool that's going to have them say, Teddie, I want this, and I want to buy it from you.
So more what it's going to do for you, not what it is.
Absolutely.
So you brought up a good point, is leaders look for leaders usually. People who are moving people who are successful want to partner with people who are successful. So that brings up a good point. How important is having the right upline, or how important is having or being on the right team versus just your own personal responsibility to build what you're doing and find those people?
Yeah, that's a two-sided coin, Jeff. And honestly, there is no right team. There is no right person. I look at credibility. Does this person have the credibility that I want to partner with? Does this person have the background that I want to partner with, right? And sometimes, and this happens in many situations where we have 4 or 5 people that introduce us to the same opportunity, the same product, and then we're in a dilemma. What do I do, right? And, I've been in both situations, and it's like this. You partner with the best person that's going to be best for you. And when you do that, I think amazing things can happen. Even if they're not a leader in the company, I am about being a leader, making leaders. So if there's no leader in your area, become a leader, right? And that's the focus for me personally, build other leaders. Because some of these leaders that are way up there, you're never going to really work with them. Right? Yeah. They're in your upline so far or so high. They're so busy doing their own things and building their own people that honestly, you have to go out and build your people. You have to edify them. You have to educate them. You have to give them the skills that they need to become a leader.
Right. So wrapping up, the last official question is it work ethic, or is there some mysterious magic pill, saying, phrase, personality? I think this comes down to, John Maxwell always gets asked, are people born a leader? Are people born to do this versus is it learnable? Is it teachable? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, this business and industry is so teachable. I will have to say, and the diversity of backgrounds in network marketing, in direct sales. That, honestly, it's something in all of us that drives us to help other people. And, Zig Ziglar said it well, you help enough people get what they want, you're going to end up with what you want, right? I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
But, honestly, when it comes right down to the bottom line, it's about drive, creativity. All these things factor in because time freedom, it's nice to have money to be able to do what you need to do. Skill set, some people come here and have no skill set. Some people come here that are very successful and can't do network marketing. There's people with relationship skills that just knock it out of the park, and then there's those that don't have any relationship skills that are doing pretty well. So it's a combination. There's no magic pill. Obviously, there's no magic pill. But it's a combination of drive, will, success, skill set, mindset is huge. And this is something that I teach on, not professionally. I got into it probably about 8 or 9 years ago. A professional asked me, well, do you practice mindfulness? What are you talking about? And ever since then, it's really taken me to the next level that I've wanted to be at in success in my businesses and relationships and, the direction of my life. But I will say this. If there was a magic pill, I'll go out and make sure I formulate it real quick. There always seems to be this magical unicorn that people are just blessed with these gifts. And I believe that we're all blessed with certain gifts to use. And in network marketing, all those gifts You see them all across the board, all across the board. And, you know, some people will have great success, some people will have mediocre success, and some people are part of that Eeyore Nation that I call the Eeyore Nation. Woe is me, I can't do this. Bah humbug, the sun's not shining. You know, they even do well in some companies and situations. And I think direct marketing, it takes a specific individual to say, I'm going to get up this morning and I'm going to change some lives, or I'm going to help some people find a solution, and I have that in my back pocket that they don't even know about yet.
Awesome. Awesome. Bess actually wrote in and asked a question. Have you used the favor script at all, or have you taught that to be able to get just what you're doing out there in front of people?
No, but, you know, it's kind of funny because I do have strategy calls with my people that in my teams that say, I'm a leader. And a leader is someone who helps themselves help one. That's what I call a leader. And I do strategy calls, and my strategy calls pretty much consist of everything that you asked me today. Give me a little bit of background. Give me a little bit of information. Where do you want to be? Tell me what your hobbies are. Tell me what you love the most. And, you know, some of those scripts are really good, but after you've done this a while, you kind of pick up on people's demeanors, their backgrounds, their culture, their beliefs, and having something more defined for somebody who's just starting is a really good idea, but I've not used the favor method.
Specifically. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Any other tips or anything? Because obviously there's a lot of people who get in who are out there in network marketing. They're struggling. They're beating their head against the wall. They've been told to send out websites and spam the crap out of people, and they're disappointed. They're down. What advice would you have for them to, you know, keep going, stick with it? Like, what direction? What should they do?
Yeah, you know, that's a really tough question, Jeff, and in this economy, it's ever-changing, right? We're at a crux in our economy that the old business techniques for direct marketing, you can't just throw it on the wall and have it stick. You can't spam everybody. I think you have to be really intentional with what you have and what you're sharing, and if you are sharing something you're not passionate about, and this is what leads back to, find a company or a product or a service that you absolutely love and are passionate about, and you will be successful. You know, you won't have to get into that spamming mentality and mindset, because if you really think about it, money is abundant. People are abundant. I mean, look at the planet. We have so many people in our, you know, price range or purchasing value, what they call it in market value. You know, the buyers are average 25 to 75. You know, your demographics, you have to take a look at that. But, you know, the old ways, they're just not really working for a lot of people, and that's out of desperation. If you kind of change your mindset in abundance, you're going to have that come and go and flow in and out of your life and in your businesses. So is there one tip that I can give on that specific topic? I have way too many tips.
Okay.
And it's per the individual, right? If you tell me what your 3 strengths and weaknesses are, I would probably tend not to say don't spam all your family and friends. Right? You definitely don't want to do that. But in this day and age, it's smart to have an external website that you are a data collector, that you're collecting data. I mean, come on, Jeff. Medical offices collect data. Gas cards collect data. You know, grocery stores, they collect data. They want to know how their shoppers are buying or what product is the hottest product around in the trend. They're going to stock more of it. But if you have an external website that you can drive people to and gather information, have them sign up for your newsletter, your subscriptions. Even I asked you, you know, what do you see the greatest trend in video blogs, right? So there's so many different ways to market products and services that you don't have to spam everyone. I mean, we're not getting any good responses from spam, are we?
No, I mean, yeah, email list, everything is down. I mean, it still has its value, but it's just costing more and more, just like pay-per-click ads is, costing more and more. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you're spending money on services, I don't want to sound like, and if anybody has any services companies, stop, right? If you are spending more money than you're making, stop. Rethink your strategy, because you have everything that you need free, right in your head, right in your heart, out through paper, out through social media, in order to gain attention. Attraction marketing is about you. And if you're not confident in you, video record yourself, tape record yourself, listen to yourself, and change that up a little bit. I'm not saying go out and have a whole makeover or anything like that. I'm saying the technique that we use, and this is in personality traits too that you see across the board. Type A's and different types of people and cultures are attracted to you because you have something they want, need, or are looking for. So, it does play a factor in it. But I always say, be who you are in real person that you are on social media, so that when people meet you offline, they're going to be, oh, you're the same person. You're genuine. You're real. Be who you are.
Absolutely. Be a real person. I think that's most important. Well, I really appreciate. Thank you so much for your time. Have a safe trip to where you're going. Again, this is part of what we do with the MLM Millionaire Club. Part of what we do with the MLM Leadership University, where we go through Maxwell's books. I just thank you so much for coming on here, sharing not only your wisdom but also your personal story. I hope this has the ability to help somebody out. And if we can, I'd love to be able to talk to you again at another time.
Yeah, absolutely, because life is not a bed of roses. There's been some ups and downs, and I really think it's important for people to hear the raw and real stuff. I mean, I could get into a whole lot of chaos, and my only advice is build through the chaos. Even that fuels your fire. There's been some adversity in my life that I would love to be able to talk and share, because when you get to places of experience that you can speak about and help somebody else, that's huge.
Absolutely. I'm sure this is going to help somebody kind of break through and get to that next level. So, again, thanks. Have a safe trip, and we'll talk to you guys real soon. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff, for the opportunity. Bye-bye.